Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Better Than Starting Manned. We are here at the Space Center after that insane flight last session. I hope never to do a repeat of that. And I think we're going to see if we can afford to put a man into orbit. So yeah, we're going to build this thing. The pod weighs just shy of 3 tons, which is a lot more than the payloads we've been sending up in the past. But it's our best shot at science in the near future. Now, before we go any further, let's just check our science or our contract options. This payload may be a good way to get us a bit of extra cash. And really the only other really valuable contract we've got going other than putting a guy into orbit. Can't do that one right now. Radial parachute in flight over Kerbal. I think we'd better leave that one off because that's an in-flight one as opposed to a yeah, I'll save that one. Let's get in there and let's see what it takes to design a lift ship. Oh yeah, I was looking at the Gravioli Mark III for design ideas. And this basic lift cluster actually can be used as my first sub-assembly. It's be called Tier 3 lift cluster. Okay, new ship. Using that guy right there. A honkin' big parachute. Nope. A honkin' little parachute? I guess it is. Well, not taking chances with Kerbal lives. Good God, that looks insane though. 0.3, 0.1. Weight's important. We're still in the territory where mass matters. Which is a bit of a pain, but that's... I mean, I guess it never stops mattering. Now this one, if memory serves, this one comes with a built-in heat shield. It's be called Manned Flight 1 Phoenix Mark 1. Okay. Let me just go check the... I could have checked the specs in the VAB. That was silly of me. Okay. The hazards of designing on camera, as I say. Alright, right here. So, heat shield, directional. Heat shields sold separately. It will only be included if you've researched the heat shields in the aerodynamics branch, which we have. Good. So we are good to go on that front. So all we should need there is the heat shield and the stack decoupler right there. Now then, let's get this right. We need one of these and 4 of those. I think that will be stable enough. Those kinds of engines. Whoops. Of course, this is going to be an expensive flight because we're not going to be able to rescue any of this hardware, but that is not really an avoidable fact. Tier 3 lift cluster, come on down. And we are under mass. Good stuff. Granted, we still haven't put batteries and RCS tanks on this. Let's see what we can do for RCS tanks. Okay, that's not too much mass. We're going to need one right here and one right there. That should give us pretty good control over this beast. And then batteries, a couple of sets of batteries in the central stack here. Oh, and an antenna. We need to at least transmit a bit of data home just in case of a disaster. So we'll put on, let's see, how much do these weigh? 0.1. I mean, ideally I would like to put one of these on. Oh yes, and I was told that even if it looks like this, there's actually 4 of them there. So if I do that, that way there will only be one of those. I wonder what happens when I actually blast the parachute off. An interesting question to say the least. So we won't worry about the parachute here. We should be able to control that thing pretty easily. We'll just have it deploy a little sooner that way. Not a lot sooner, but a little sooner. Okay. 4 rocket symmetry, 6 rocket symmetry at the bottom. I think we'll be okay. I have no idea if this will be capable of orbiting, but it will be capable. I mean, orbiting would be ideal because that would give us a low altitude pass. Or at least give us, as long as we can get into space, we can get some observational data. Speaking of which, we need to set a crew report. Not when we stage. We want to set the crew report for custom 1. Okay. So let's see. Staging. Oh my god, staging is a gong show. What the heck is that kind of... What the heck is that joke? Okay, we need that to fire the second stage engines, like so. And number 3... Oh, hold on. Jeepers. There we go. Second decoupler, first decoupler fires the second engines, and firing the initial stage does that boost right there. 67-ton mass, which is not unreasonable for other flights that we have done in recent days. But it also means that we could put a bit more fuel on this if we really wanted. Though I'd rather keep it compact. I don't think I got quite the capability to put another row of fuel because we don't have the larger or the smaller sized tanks. And I think booster rockets could just cause us grief. Yeah, I think we're going to be good to go here. Let's find out. Still don't have SAS modules on these things. No computer control, so this is all fly-by steering wheel. Okie dokie then. Are we ready? It's a beautiful night for a launch. Looking good. So full throttle, launching in 3, 2, 1. Lift off. So far so good. We'll just peel off a bit of throttle there so we don't overheat because we're still using the crappy lower tier engines. But that is a good looking launch. The ship's stable. I'm not having to fight with it. I don't even have my hand on the keyboard right now, although I'm going to have to obviously adjust it just a tiny bit just to keep it centered on vertical here until we're ready to do our gravity turn. Good old 10,000 meter. Oh dear. Just a little loss of control there. Alright. Just cut a bit more power off of that thing. There we go. I think we're keeping the power nice and steady now. We're at 135 at 5,000 meters. That's probably good. Come on. Hold it on the line. Hold your line. I don't know why it's probably that antenna. It's just throwing things off ever so slightly, most likely. It's funny how just a tiny little bit of... Ooh, that's a pretty shot. I love how the lights look like crop circles in this mod. The Oblivion atmosphere mod. Okay, time to turn. And just in time for us to start losing our lower stage. Oh, and of course we have no fins on this stage, which is not good at all. Okay. Looking good. Using just a bit more fuel than I would have liked here, but so far so good. As long as we got fuel left when we hit a low LKO, we should be okay. Okay. Excellent. We are now getting close. Oh, we better get our resources up. Alright, so far so good. Getting ready to blast the engines for our orbital burn, which we will do shortly. And it's probably at about 55 kilometers we will start that. And hopefully, it says here in fine print, this thing can actually get to orbit. Because we should be able to deorbit it with a simple throttle. Okay, here we go. Full throttle. Okay, not quite full throttle because these things will burn out. Okay, stop it. Okay, not even remotely enough fuel to get us to orbit, but enough to get us to space. And you know what? That is enough to get us at least one science report here, which is unfortunately the only one we're going to get. Okay. Transmit that data. Dang it. Too bad. Are we going to get to another biome? No, we are not, because it was a... that's too bad. I don't think this thing quite has the power to get to a full orbit, which is really unfortunate, because that means we've used a lot of money on a ship that did not get us an adequate amount of information. Dang it. Well, not sure what to do about that. I guess, come on, electrical charge, transfer, in. There we are. Got to keep those batteries charged on that part of the ship. In fact, we will disable that battery for a minute. Alright, well, you know, I was hoping for an orbit, but I will accept that this thing can at least get to space. We need, obviously, just a little bit more guts to get this thing to space, which means we're going to need just a bit more money to earn. Yeah, we're going to have just a little bit more work to do to get this thing into orbit, that's for sure. And that means we're going to have to actually earn some money. So we're going to have to put that on the list next for the future. Ah, yes, manned flight. So much fun. Come on. I have no fuel left to act as a braking system, but I might be able to... Nope. No, we're not even remotely capable of slowing this thing down. Hopefully I can finish transmitting this data before I blast the batteries off of this thing. And I will remember to turn the batteries back on the crew capsule before I... There we go. Alright, a whole 30 science, which is not going to go a hugely long way. But that's okay. We got a guy in space, just not in orbit. Alright, so we're going to have to plan on not being able to get to orbit with this tech level we're at right now. Okay. Let's see, we're going to have to get rid of this, the parts of this ship soon. The batteries are online. Yes, they are. Good stuff. Things are heating rapidly. In fact, I think I should probably get some distance between me and the rest of the ship. So here we go. Alright, well, this thing is now in the mercy of the atmosphere. So hope for the best, guys. Atmospheric steering and atmospheric heating, you are my ally now. The only ally I've got. Let's just hope that it's enough. Here comes the fire. Man, we weren't that far from a second continent, were we? There should be enough for there goes the... Oh boy, those new explosions do look gorgeous. Look at that. There's still a fair chunk of that left, isn't there? Alright, excellent. Now, hopefully this silly parachute does not interfere with the the communicatron that I put on there. In retrospect, hopefully it doesn't interfere. Okay. I should be coming down to the point where I can deploy this parachute safely. I hope. Alright, I think we'll be okay. Excellent. Looks like I can safely have that on top of there in spite of how silly it looks. Oh, good to know. I just hope that this parachute is enough to get him down safely, because if he crashes, we are fully, well and truly in trouble. So, crossed fingers, everybody. This is the part where everything could go horribly, horribly wrong. Probably should have used the better parachute, I think. Whoa, okay, that must have been leftover debris from somewhere. Crashing down nearby. 11 meters per second. Water landing should be okay. Sure hope so. I have no feel for how fast 11 meters per second is. Lovely. Gentle as can be. Gentle as can be. Okay. So we got an orbit, or we got a low, an LKO scan anyways. Not an orbital result, but a scan nonetheless. And we got 71 science out of it, and we used just about all of our... Whoa, are we broke? Wait, are we broke? No, we're not broke. Okay. Did I just break our bank? No, 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 no. That can't be. What contract failed? What? Oh my god. Really? Shoot. That is not cool. Guys, I'm going to just grab one of my backups. This... No. No, that is not cool. That is not cool at all. In fact, you know what? No, I'm just going to go... I'll just check how much cash I had before this flight flew, and I think I'm going to actually edit the save file to fix this, because this is not... This should not have been a failure. Yeah, I didn't put him into orbit, but I also didn't... He's back. I got him back intact. What are you talking about? Okay. Anyways, I will be right back. This is too bad. There we go. That's much better. So I did the math, subtracted the cost of that flight I did from my original funds, and we have a whole $10,000 left, which means we have a serious financial problem sitting in our bank right now. So the question is, how much does this payload weigh on escape trajectory? Okay, we aren't going to be getting on an escape trajectory anytime soon here. Radial mount parachute in flight we could do. That's actually not a bad return for a low altitude flight. If I can keep the ship cheap. Flying altitude 8,000 to 9,000 meters at a very high speed. 450 meters per second to 750 meters per second. Possible. Not impossible. Okay, that'll definitely be an electronic flight, though. I ain't going to fly a ship that I care about with that setup. But you know what? Let's see what the weight of these payloads is, because that's really what I need to know for this to be worth my time. Small size commercial payload. Let's take that one and let's have a look at it. What the heck do these silly things weigh? Commercial payload small weighs 2.5. Okay, so that says to me that weighs as much as this thing that I failed to get into orbit, almost. So I need a ship that can get a man into orbit with my current tech level to also be able to deliver the commercial payloads to orbit. Now I delivered a Stay Putnik to orbit a while back. That was with the Gravioli Mark IIIs could do it. Now let's see. So this upper payload currently weighs 8.6. Let me just make a note here. I'm just seeing if this ship could be adapted. I doubt it can because it's going to be underpowered, but let's see, 8.6. And then if I pull off all of the science equipment, the antenna, and the most of the battery power, that just takes us down to 7.1. So 7.1, that's, let's see, 7.1, that's okay, that's 1.5 tons. So this thing can get a payload of 1.5 tons into orbit as designed currently. Now this thing is going to be a free-floating disaster if I launch it because I don't have decouplers to put on it, or but how I would do that, have to do this, and of course this thing doesn't have to return, which is one benefit. So that is what it would look like. So that's 9.7, which means it is carrying 1.1 tons more than the science mission did, which means it has a lot less power. Now, can this thing handle 3 more of these? Let's just snag that on there and see what my mass limits look like. If I do 3 of these batteries, no, we shouldn't need 3 of them. We'll do 2 of them. Actually, we'll do 2 of them on either side of this probe core, because why not? Now, could we fit 3 of these on there? Okay, we could, we can. But of course, we can't afford to launch it. Could we fit 4 of them on? No, that is 0.95. Oh, but we don't need those. Still 0.87 over the mass limit, our current mass limit. The only way I could cut more out of there would be to yank off the battery. Does this count as a... No, that can't possibly count as a probe core. That has got to be... Commercial payloads can't possibly have a built-in probe. We could fit 3 of them on, and that's 50% more fuel than our aborted manned flight. But what we don't have is any way to control it, which means we will need RCS and these to have any hope of this thing getting into orbit. Now, technically speaking, actually, I don't need to have decouplers on this. I could just leave the whole unit in orbit as is. But I don't know what kind of use that would be to me. Ideally, I do a couple more suborbital flights and get enough science to get a bit more technology before I try to do this. Alright, well, let's see. We'll just call this the small payload prototype. And let us refocus on the more obvious thing that we can accomplish, which I think we might do in the next episode. I just have to look. Yep, we're going to have to pick this up in the next episode. We're going to do some small... Tell you what, I'm going to do 2 weather report flights off camera, which will give me a bit of extra cash. And then what we're going to do is we're going to design a ship to fulfill this mission right here. $14,000 to fly this thing at high speed in low Kerbal orbit and test a parachute in a crazy manner. Sounds like fun. I'll grab the weather survey as well, which I'm going to do right now off camera, just to get me a bit more cash. And yeah, next episode we will design this test Mark II our radio mount parachute in flight over Kerbal. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.